Hello, and welcome to Rocket Fuel, your daily update of everything that's happening in the Rocket Pool community. My name is Wack. Today is November 7th, and today's episode is going to cover a lot of talk about rETH rewards, etc. We're also going to be talking about Sleety, putting in a grant application, and we'll talk about some other grant applications for this month. And we're going to be talking about Pectra EIPs and how that might impact Rocket Pool and more. So let's get started.
10, 9, ignition sequence start, 6.
Okay, so first things first, we're going to start here with the Rocket Pool forum, and here we're going to talk about the rETH incubator. So the main reason why I'm mentioning this today is because we are at the deadline for submissions. That will be on November 8th at midnight UTC, which is tomorrow, basically on Friday night. So get your suggestions in. Like I've said it before, there's prizes involved for the best. The best two ideas will get $1,000 each. Sorry, $2,000 each. The next three prizes, number 3, 4, and 5, will get $1,000 each, and then from number 6 to number 20, they will get $250 each. So the total prize fund of $10,000. So I've gone through a bunch of these ideas before and kind of shared them with you all. But I'm just letting you all know that you can read the ideas, but also put in applications for new ideas because there's money on the table for you to get it. Whenever someone has an idea about rETH, I always tell them just go put it in the forum because there's money there for you to get it. Here we've got one get rETH supported on the new fluid decks. That's from Famous Old Spice. And then here, On-Chain Expat has an idea, Rocket Pool mobile app proposal, expanding rETH accessibility through native mobile applications, and how that might work and what it might do. And then we have a few more as well. Let me see here. This is Signal XU. So there's DeFi opportunities such as leverage staking. There's Silo. Then there's partnership opportunities with places like Athena, aggregator, risk management. And then MadMat here has an opportunity about a rewards DApp. And Destroyer says pitch ETF to custodians to create a pitch to ETF custodians to create Ethereum staking ETFs using Rocket Pool as a custodian. So there's a bunch of ideas here. If you have more of them, please submit your ideas. We are always looking for more. I think some of these would be really great for helping Rocket Pool grow. Okay, so talking about rETH, one of the things that's been happening recently is that the rETH APR has been going up, and it looks like it is now at around 2.93% APR, which is climbing quite nicely. Now, we're going to talk about that in a little while, about why it's climbing and how it's climbing. But what you can see here is that the effectiveness of rETH has gone to 100% pretty much, and that means that the idle ETH on the protocol, it just means there's no idle ETH on the protocol now, or very, very, very little idle ETH on the protocol, and basically all of it's being used to get rETH rewards. One of the impacts that has had, of course, so compared to like a month ago, we had nearly 10% drag on the protocol on the rETH APR, and that's pretty much all gone away. So that has been a nice boost to rETH income. Another thing is that's causing a boost to rETH income is the deposit pool queue, and you can see here there's 268 mini pools in the queue, and actually we just a few seconds ago we got a 50 ETH deposit into the deposit pool, which is nice because I'm going to talk about that next. But yeah, these 268 validators that are queued right now, they are adding to the APR because people at the back of the queue help the people at the front of the queue, get more rewards and get their validators online earlier, which means that extra rewards go to rETH. We're going to talk about that in a minute, but if we have a look at RocketScan, I need to refresh the page now. One of the sad things right now is that we have potentially thousands of validators waiting to come online. That's with bond reductions, but that's not happening. And the reason why that's not happening is because there's this queue of 270 validators, but the main queue that we have is of this there being a lack of rETH demand, and that on the protocol level has to do with the fact that there's a discount on the secondary market. So people are just going to, buy rETH on, using CowSwap or something like that to get the best rate instead of coming to the Rocket Pool, platform and minting it directly from the protocol. We need to get the peg back, and I think what will happen is that we will. The APR will increase with the queue, and as the APR increases, it'll look attractive to people. And as it looks attractive to people, then they will mint rETH on the secondary market because there's a discount. And as they buy more, then they'll come back to peg, and then we can start using the queue and getting more validators online as the queue starts moving. So that is the best case scenario. That's what I'm hoping. One of the things that we've been doing in the community recently is getting out messaging about why rETH is so great. So here I had put this tweet out. I put a bunch of tweets out recently, actually. This one saying rETH is the best LST on the market. APR is climbing and it'll soon overtake STETH. On top of that, it's the only insured LST there is. Use it in DeFi to earn mad rewards like 20% plus on PancakeSwap when you're providing rETH liquidity. I said buy some now while there's a discount. So here there's a screenshot from the MetaMask liquid staking page comparing Lido and Rocket Pool. So here in terms of highest rewards, they've got it listed as Lido being at 2.98% and Rocket Pool being at 2.92%. So that gap is closing all the time. You can measure it by rewards, network control here, and Lido, of course, is a lot higher. Like, that's more risky. So we have about 1.8% network control. Lido has 28% network control. And in terms of popularity, Lido is a lot more popular. They've got, a lot more amount staked than us. They've got more liquidity than us as well. But with the first value, especially, I think that's the one that people really look at. We're getting closer to Lido every day. So I think that that is actually going to be really interesting to see how that value changes in the coming days and whether or not we can start getting some inflows to Rocket Pool, as it looks like we are above Lido there. So that is something I'm going to be paying a lot of attention to. However, this is a bit more complicated than I've kind of been explaining. So here I said, please boost everyone to the tweet that I just showed you all. And Patches says, I ignore the fact that our APR is officially boosted because version 10 isn't done. So what I had thought, my understanding was that our ETH's APR was boosted because of the queue and because of all the drag going away. Well, Patches kind of explains that it's a little bit more complicated to that than that. And here, Jasper said that's not being factored in though. And I said, I thought it was because of the queue boosting rewards, and Jasper kind of agreed with me. But Patches actually corrected us, saying that it is actually being factored in. And he says that the queue is helping, effectiveness going to 100% is helping, but it's not the only thing. And he says right now the rewards tree 10 is helping. So I mentioned about rewards tree 10 and how it's not going to be ready until December. Well, what's happening is that the protocol is just keeping that reward as 5%. So it says it's assuming that 5% commission for all the new mini pools, though the larger factor is definitely effectiveness here. So Jasper and I both said interesting at the same time. And then Patches kind of explained that, what's happening is that the ODAO, he says, until we update the ODAO code to use some heuristic to determine how much smoothing pool ETH goes to bonus commission, it overcounts earnings. Technically, it's fine for this interval since we're pushing version 10 to rewards interval number 30, but during interval 30, it will be wrong. So I guess for the next 2 weeks, the numbers are correct, but after that, the numbers will be wrong. But, there's a chance that we overtake Lido in that time, and technically it wouldn't be lying, but I think it makes sense to kind of explain how these dynamics are kind of playing up. I guess someone could crunch the numbers and work out how it all fits together. But like which component is contributing how much. But the fact is that the raw APR is looking really good, and that's kind of what I was boosting out there. Now Waldorf and Hulul also had some other misgivings about my post. So Val says, what makes you think that it's going to overtake STETH? And that of course depends on the queue getting longer, and also yeah, but that was my idea, is that the queue would get longer and it would help overtake STETH, but maybe that won't happen. So maybe I was being a bit too making it sound more likely than it is. And then here, Hululu said the only insured LST. He says also citation needed. I think he's mentioning that stake-wise, if you use it in certain ways, there's a way that can be more, but that can be insured as well. And I think Lido, for example, has some insurance against their stake, but it's trivially small. Like it's just completely insignificant to the amount of TVL they have. So maybe I can word it a little bit better with that as well, about how the rETH is insured up to a third of its value, or whatever, because 24 rETH has 8 ETH insuring it technically. So there's some nuances here, but I think I said the trajectory of rETH is up compared to STETH, and Val then showed me this extrapolating KCD comic, where yesterday you have 0 husbands, today you have 1 husband. That means your number of husbands is going up by one every day. Therefore, in a week you'd have 7 husbands, and of course that's not how it works. So I think that there is some nuance there, so I can be a bit more careful going forwards with my language. But we can all be better, I think, a little bit better with that. Okay, Sleety sent a message onto trading here, saying that he submitted a grant application for marketing, and we'll actually have a look at some of the other grant applications this month before we look at Sleety's. So here we have one from Regex Buster, which is to continue the work of the DeFi updates for rETH that he does every 2 weeks. We have one from Patches, which is Patches' partnership with the Rocket Pool team. So he's giving a breakdown of what the work that he did was in the first 6 months, and how all that's worked out. And so far, like the work that he's been paid for, he says he's been paid 6,642 LUSD, and he gives a breakdown of the hours he's done. That is for 66 hours of work, 66 and a half hours of work. So he says this number is quite low compared to the original maximum payout in the grant, largely due to an unavoidable vacation travel binge. He said, I propose applying the same terms for the next 6 months and subsequent ones, where I have a lighter schedule and intend to complete a lot more work. So then that's Patches' grant. Next we have another one from Patches for a rescue node feature, quarter usage visibility. So he says we need to add some code to that, and Snowcones will be doing the work, and he's a good worker, and the cost, the acceptance criteria will be showing it. He says it'll cost around $750, and he says it's going to be a learning experience for him. So he says the suspect the hours spent so far are between 5 and 15 hours, and the additional work will take another 5 to 10 hours. So he says note that the grant will cover the work already completed as well as the remaining work. So it makes it easier to do this instead of filing a retro. And then the next one is here. So Patches actually clarified that the work has actually been completed before the grant was submitted, and that it should just be treated as a retroactive grant now. Name of grant here, there's Butter put in one for the Beacon Chain website, saying there's a version 2 dashboard that's designed for Rocket Pool node operators, and this will provide a real-time dashboard for up to 300 node operators, so you can make like a Rocket Pool table, and it says that the work that this is built up of, etc. And they're asking for $15,000 per year for the dashboard perks, and that's up to the GMC to decide whether they want to do that. And then Sleety here has a grant application for the work that he's starting with Token Motion and their subscription. So he wants the GMC to buy a 6-month subscription for $25,000, and he gives a breakdown of how sorry, not $25,000, $30,000, and he gives a breakdown about how the whole community will be able to use it. Kind of like there'll be a design submission thread where you can write the work that needs to be done, and Sleety can then go and do it and make it available for the whole community. So what he envisages here is work for marketing purposes, work for artwork to use in Twitter threads, or that I can use on Rocket Fuel or other people can use as well, and it can be open to everyone. So these are all going to go to the GMC for their consideration, and I just thought I'd give you a rundown of the different grants that came in. But this one about market, there's been discussions in the community recently about marketing and how that's all going because of the fact that there's a queue and we need more rETH minting. So Sleety kind of brought this up in relation to marketing, saying that this will make marketing a little bit easier for the protocol. Next one, this is Ethereum news, but we're going to cover it from a Rocket Pool angle. So Tim Byko here has an update about a new Pectra testnet called Mekong, and you can try it out using EIPs 7702, MaxEB considerations, and more. So this is really cool. A few of these are related to staking. So Rocknet actually had a question about this, and Rocknet's point was, he says, this short-lived testnet went live. It has 7702, 7002, MaxEB. He says, I haven't heard for sure that Megapools will incorporate MaxEB, but they should to be Ethereum aligned. He says hopefully Rocket Pool doesn't expand the validator set while the base protocol is trying to collapse it for future important upgrades. So this actually, I brought this up as a discussion in the Rocket Fuel thread, and it actually got some really nice traction. So I said, the Pectra EIPs will not be in Saturn 1. Saturn 2 will include forced exits. Langus said the team will add the architecture for MaxEB, but it won't be used until Saturn 2. Sorry, I meant to say Saturn 2. If I recall correctly, maybe Val can tell you a bit more about what EIPs will go where. Thanks, Val, in advance. So Val says the more important thing here is that MaxEB is ridiculously easy for someone centralized for Coinbase and not for us. He says, I do expect we'll get there eventually, but it's not the case that there is any issue with us not getting there right away. And Rocknet says it's disappointing to hear that it won't be in Saturn 1, I guess. He says, in my opinion, this isn't as aligned with the stated goal of being good for Ethereum as I believed it to be. He says, I think there's a kind of bad luck to expanding the set dramatically, assuming that, we have demand. He says, while others are collapsing it to support scalability. He says, on the other hand, collapsing validators Rocket Pool market share isn't hugely needle moving. Val says Ethereum definitely struggles over 2.1 million validators. He says we're currently at 1.1 million. Rocket Pool has 22,000 of those. So he says Coinbase alone can go from 121,000 validators to under 2,000 validators. He says we could multiply up drastically and still easily be outweighed here. So then I said, yeah, those centralized ones are what makes a big difference. Lido and Coinbase alone will bring the validator count down a lot. And he says, Val says, again, the benefits, both network and otherwise, there are benefits. So I think it makes sense in the long term, but it's not a thing where I see as hurting Ethereum's health. And Rocknet says, yeah, hard to say hurting given size, but it's not rowing in the same direction either. And then Val kind of explained, he says, I think about things in terms of bottlenecks. So he says if the top 4 forks, that's Lido, Coinbase, Binance, and EtherFi, if they do the MaxEB thing, that puts us under 600,000 validators. So I simply don't see this as a bottleneck. Meanwhile, the number of independent node operators is a huge bottleneck, and the amount of stake operated by home stakers is a huge bottleneck. So he says, I don't think it's worth trading off even a small delay for those two. So yeah, that discussion kind of went on a little bit more, and you can read about it if you would like. But I'm going to end today's episode there. And it was a quick one today. So thank you all for watching, listening, and being part of the Rocket Fuel community. I hope you are all doing well today and have a good rest of your day. And I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.